Hey, everybody, welcome. This is our first ever EV feature of the month. Compliments of Sergio Rodriguez, who came up with the idea, pitched it to Travis. Travis kind of got busy and didn't really act on it yet. So I'm going to take the initiative and act on it today. So today or this month, we're going to be talking about the Mach-E. I posted a couple things about the Mach-E recently. Sergio, introduce yourself.
So
Tell
I am
everybody.
I'm Sergio Rodriguez, and as you guys all know, I have two Mach-E's. I'm a auto enthusiast. I love cars. Specifically now, EVs. Like I'm all about EVs. You won't find me buying another gas car. It's a
He's
little bit.
very modest as I expected. So let's start that over again. You've had several EVs. Let's start with your first one. What was the first EV you ever had?
First EV I ever had was a 2012 Fisker Karma. It was a plug-in hybrid. So it got 50 miles on full electricity, and then it would convert over to the onboard generator, which would give me 250 additional miles. So the car was able to go about 300 miles on a full charge and a full tank of gas. And it had a four-cylinder generator, something I can't remember the details of it. So I'm gonna be clear, I'm not a techie, so when it comes to certain details of stuff, I don't know. I'm just an enthusiast. I like cars. I like things that roll. I like things that look nice. So, um, if it interests me, normally I just buy it because it's fun and it excites me. So, that was one of my first EVs. After that,
Okay.
I got a 2017 Model S, the
And
75.
that's the one I didn't know about. So you got your Model S the same time or same year I did because I got
Yeah,
a
it was
2017
a
Model S.
yeah, it was a blue one. So it's funny because my friend Marcus that's in the group, we went to high school together. It's kind of we were in programming class together. I think we were in programming C+ together. Now he's like a big old techie, doing a whole bunch of stuff, and I just got lost in the translation. But he had saw my Model S, and then he started talking about he was going to get one, so he got a Model S as well. And then I realized real quick that the Model S was cool, but I needed something to tow my trailer with, and I had a 2017 Suburban at the time, and so I decided let me look into the Model X, and so I got rid of my Suburban, got a Model X. Plus, gas prices were stupid, so it was perfect. Got the Model X,
And
and
where were you living at the time? Were you in California or on the East Coast?
I was in Southern California when I bought the
Okay.
2019 Model X 100D.
Got it.
So bought that one, had fun with it. Then um, Actually, let me back up a little bit. Right before that, Hyundai had announced that they were coming out with the Hyundai Ioniq Electric, and they were limiting it to 250 units only to Southern California residents. And it was a pretty cool deal because it was a $250 lease deal, and it's called a subscription. And what they did is they reimbursed you for the first 50,000 miles of electricity. So regardless of where you were charging, what you were doing, they were reimbursing you based on the kilowatt charge for the state.
Hmm.
They also covered full maintenance for the first 50,000, which we all know EVs don't require much maintenance, but they covered the tire rotations, they covered windshield wipers, they covered just anything that the car needed just to make you be happy, but you had to lease it. And so I got that one, which was pretty cool. And then part of the deal was if you kept it after the lease, you get a lifetime warranty on the drive unit and the batteries. So, I mean, for me, it was a
Okay.
no-brainer. Why would I, I could have a car that could last forever.
Right. Yeah.
So,
No brainer. It's like when I see people that still to this day hang on to their unlimited charging because it's unlimited for life and they just refuse to do anything because that's going to last them forever.
you know what? I was one of those people. I can tell you that now. I That was my biggest struggles when I was deciding whether or not I was getting rid of something is that unlimited free supercharging. But I
Hmm.
talked to a friend and was like, okay, when you really do the math, like how much are you really saving and like what are you really
And
gaining? And it honestly was not that much.
it's a mental thing.
It
It's a
is.
big. It's one of the best played mental games I've seen a manufacturer do because honestly, unless you don't have charging at home, which there are people I know, like I have a friend in California, they don't have charging at home. They rely on public charging 100% of the time. That makes sense because the gas is crazy, the charging's free, and then they're actually coming out ahead. But for everybody else, if you could charge at home or work, you have to ask yourself, how much do you really go to the supercharger, and is it worth it? But moving on, so you had the
The 2000,
Fisker, couple Teslas, three Teslas.
three
What
Teslas.
else?
I have a 2021 Kia Niro
Okay.
currently. What else do I have? And then just the two Mach-E's, and that's
All
it.
right. No, 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 no. You can't just jump to them. So this is the other thing I always tell people too, or I just like to remind people: if you're in a position to buy a new car and your finances are such that you can pretty much get the one you want, tell us what went into your decision process to go with the Mach-E as opposed to a Porsche or a Tesla, another Tesla or whatever. What was it that was the Mach-E said, this is the car I want for me, and not only do I want this one, I'll get another one?
All right, that's fair enough. That's a fair enough question. And it's funny because you touched on a topic about getting whichever car I want. And honestly, when it comes down to it, I could buy whichever car I want because I really love cars and I work hard enough in order to get what I want. And so when I when the Mustang came up, the blue one you see in my background, the first edition, when
Mm-hmm.
Ford announced that, it intrigued me. One, because when I was in high school, my one of my dream cars was a 1989 Ford Mustang 5.0 convertible GT, and so
Uh,
yeah, so I ended
Now
up
it's
getting
starting to become clear.
yeah,
Got
so I
it.
got a Fox body. I got that Fox body black Mustang, black on black. Souped it up, did all kind of like, headers. I did upper intakes, lower intakes, some Edelbrock stuff, some off-road X-Pipe, just ridiculous. That car was a monster. Got, I don't know how many tickets, got it impounded, I don't know how many times, like, but that wasn't, the end of my Mustang, journey. After that, I got a 2000 GT, then I got a 2002 Roush, then I got a 2002 Cobra Terminator Mustang. I got a 2005 GT 5.0, and my love for Mustangs has always been there. Like I've always been a Mustang guy.
Well,
So
now again, that's another fact I didn't know about. So that now the circle is becoming clear. I
yes,
get it
so
now.
I'm a Mustang guy. So anytime I used to go anywhere, I mean, I was part of Team Mustang. I like, yeah, I've been. I love Mustang. So when I saw that Ford was coming out with an electric EV, I was just like, this is going to be pretty cool because I knew a guy when I used to drive my Hyundai that worked on base in Coronado. He had a Ford Focus EV, and I talked to him about it, and I was just like, "Oh, that's cool," but I'm not a Focus type of guy. And so when they announced this one, I mean, my fingers were on the trigger, ready to click to reserve it. And so, as
All
most
right.
know,
Well,
go
that
ahead.
brings up another question because I honestly had not been a Mustang person. I like the look of them. I've always admired them from a distance for over the years. But one of the controversies that came out pretty strongly with the Mach-E from the traditional Mustang crowd that you're a part of was, hey, this isn't a Mustang. This is an SUV. This isn't what we call a Mustang.
Right.
So, what was your thought on that? Obviously, it didn't affect you. You bought two of them. So, what went through your mind when you saw that going on?
So the differences between myself and those guys is that I have EV experience, and so having an electric car and having electric cars, I already had that taste and that the taste of the performance that an electric vehicle can do, opposed to these Mustang guys that don't know what electric cars are capable of. And so I didn't take it too hard because I was just like, okay, it's a Mustang. To me, Ford is putting their Mustang name, their most iconic name on a vehicle. It better be good. Like, because if you're gonna
Okay.
put it on there, you either are crazy as hell and you just want to like mess up and lose everybody, or you got some heat and you want to really share it. So um I personally, compared to all of the Mustangs I've owned, which has been a pretty decent amount, I'm impressed with the Mustangs. Like I'm impressed with what Ford did with these cars, and I could tell you right now that orange one handles just like any other Mustang, if not better that I've owned. It has a performance; it's quicker than any other Mustang I've owned, and so it's wearing that name proudly. And when those other Mustang guys start their little chitter chatter about this and that, I normally tell them if they want to line them up, let's line it up and see what happens. But I took
Yeah,
it.
I've seen you. I've seen you challenge people to races quite often in our group. So, like put up or shut up. If you're gonna talk
Hey,
trash, let's
you
go
know
to
what?
let's go to the track.
And if I lose, I lose. But at the same time, let's go test it out so that way you can understand why it's a fun car.
Right. All right. That brings us to another question then. So you got the first one, the blue one. I saw that one in person, and you gave me a tour of it. I was impressed with what I saw, and I just for people watching this and like people know that I'm a Tesla owner. Like we're on our fourth one now, so I've had a few Teslas, and those have been the only EVs I've driven. Um, but if we go back when EV hybrid used to meet in public, like in person, when we used to meet before the pandemic, when the Mach-E first came out, and you weren't there. I don't think you were in Atlanta yet, but when you weren't there, and we used to have a meeting each month, and one of the tasks was to share news on new EVs. So I went and researched the Mach-E so I could share it to the group that day. And I even said right then and there, and Shelly was there as a witness, Travis was there as a witness. I said, if I were going to get an EV right now and it wasn't going to be a Tesla, this would probably be it. Because I look at it not from, it wasn't so much the brand, it was what car could match my list of things I'm looking for in a car
Right.
from an EV. And at the time, the Mach-E outside of Tesla was the only other one that I saw that would come close to it. I said, yep, went through the order. I configured one right there in the meeting. And I said, this is the one I would get if I were going to get one today. So, yeah, I've been
I
following
remember
it
you
since
telling
it
me.
came out as well.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. Yeah, and I mean, I can see why you felt that way. I mean, after buying them and owning it, now it's like I can understand. I understand why you felt that way.
Yep. So, I'm not an SUV person, so it wouldn't be my first choice. Just like the Model Y is not my first choice, or the Model X wasn't my first choice back when I got my first one, which was an S. But I do like what I've seen so far in it. So for people that are like saying, well, what is this car and where do I learn more about it and so forth and so on, it is over at Ford's website. Obviously, that's where it would be. Just head over to Ford.com, which is what I did, and you click on electrified and you click on Mach-E. So it looks like it starts at 43,895, 305 miles estimated range, and 3.5 seconds, 0 to 60. And then you just go configure one like you would any other car. So now that brings me to my next question, which is, you had the blue one first, and that's a 2020?
2021.
2021. Okay.
All of them are 2021s. They started in 2021.
Got it. And why the orange gold one? Why that one? And I know that's a GT, but then why'd you keep the blue one?
All right.
So why two?
Why
That's my question.
because I'm Sergio, and that's just how I do things. I just have to be the
As I,
most. And anything I do is just I don't know. That's like I know. So there's reasons behind it. So I got I got the first edition, and so the blue one is the first edition. It's a great car. It's not as fast. 0 to 60 is like 4.8 seconds.
okay.
Range on it is great. I mean, it's rated at 270 miles. It's an all-wheel drive vehicle, dual motor, but yet I've driven it over 300 miles on a single charge on the highway at 65 miles per hour. So I'm impressed with what that car can do as far as road tripping. It's comfortable. It's great for that. So
Mm-hmm.
at the time that I bought that, I still had my 2020 Model X Tesla performance, my performance Model X. So that car, as we all know, is just ludicrous in its performance, like just stupid fast, like 0 to 60 in
Mm-hmm.
2.6. Like it was a fun car. And so buying the Mach-E, it wasn't meant to be that fast replacement, fun, whatever. So I knew that I was going to be getting rid of the 2020 performance. So I needed to find something to replace it with. And so the only thing that I could think of that was going to be able to replace that Tesla and still be fun for me was the Mach-E GT Performance Edition. So that
Okay.
was the reason for the orange one because I still wanted my go fast car.
So you want one car good for road trips, cruising around. You want another car that I can take on anybody and go fast in.
Yes,
Is that it?
yes. Because look,
You're right. Typical Sergio.
yeah, I mean, it's to some people it won't make sense, but like the blue one, you figure it has 20, almost 23,000 miles on it. It's still on the original tires. It's a good cruiser, and it's fun. My Model X was a 2020 at around 12,000 miles. My tires in the back were already shot because of that cambering, how they camber, which I know is for for you to be able to corner and all that jazz. But so you have that car, which to me I like the Model X because it was the family car, the cruiser, and then your performance all in one. However, the maintenance of the tires and just dealing with that was a little bit irritating. Opposed to with the blue one, I could drive that one and I'm not running. I'm not killing tires. I'm not doing anything. And then when I want
Okay.
to go be foolish, I could take the orange one. I'm not worried. I'm okay.
Please, I love it. At least you're being honest. When I want to be foolish, that's going to be the quote of the chat right now. That's it. I'm immortalizing that quote right there. When I want to be foolish, I take the GT.
Yes. Or if I'm running late. If I'm running late somewhere, I take the GT.
Ah, that was okay. So that brings up two questions. One, you got two cars. Which do you just like alternate them? You decide which one you're going to drive based on what you got to go do. Is distance an issue? Like what? When do you decide to drive the blue one versus the orange one?
So somebody asked me that question recently, and I honestly I don't make up my mind until I get downstairs and I'm walking to the garage, and then I look at both cars, and then I'm just like, okay, I'll open up the app, and then I just select which car it is that I'm going to drive, and I just jump in that one and go. Like, there's really not a thought process because they're normally both charged up. They're both normally both ready to go. They're both normally clean. So it's just, I, it just, at opening the app and deciding at that point, I don't know. There's no thought process.
All right. Now that brings the second question. And this is one I want to spend some time on because I think this is the one because we're having fun today, and that's great. Yeah, I love chatting with people in the group. I love talking EVs and tech all day long. But from an education standpoint today, what I really want to make sure we get covered is that you've done one, if not two, cross country trips in these cars. And for those of you who have done long distance on an EV, especially if you're a Tesla owner, we're used to supercharger networks. We're used to it being easy. It's all in the car. It's get in the car and just drive. What's that experience like coming from California all the way to the East Coast in your first Mach-E? And was there any, I don't want to say hesitation, but like, or certainly not fear, but was there any like hesitancy, like, oh my God, I'm getting ready to do cross country in a car where I have to rely on a network that I haven't really used a lot? What was that like?
So yeah, that was a little bit of a challenge. So before I bought the blue one, just I'm gonna say less than a year before that, I had driven my Model X from California out here as well. So I did a coast to coast in my Model X, towing a trailer, as you guys remember. I posted in the group. So you're right. The supercharging network was set up completely to what I needed in order to, get to where I needed to be across the country. And buying the Mach-E, I did not know Electrify America's network as I do now. Um, and my intent when I went out there to buy it was to get it and then ship it home, ship it back out here because I wasn't going to drive it cross country because I wasn't sure of how the charging network was set up. But I got out there, and then some of the chatter that kept going back and forth on Twitter and Facebook about the Mach-E is going to be a local vehicle. It can't do road trips because the network sucks. And that was a challenge for me. So now
I was gonna say that's all it took was a challenge.
yeah.
All it took was somebody to say you can't do that.
So
Now Sergio's
challenge
all
me,
in.
it was like, hey, you're not going to be able to do it. It's not going to make it, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? I got some time. I could make it. So I decided, hell, let's just go for it. Let's just go for this road trip. Let's see what happens. And so I literally the night before punched it into the car to see as far as getting out here. The car, just like Tesla, mapped out all of my charging stations, mapped
All right,
the
that's
time.
point number one. I want to make sure we cover is that because I know not all cars do that. Like not all EVs outside of Tesla and now I know Mach-E, you can just punch it right into navigation and it knows where the fast chargers are and it knows maps them and routes you to them. So great. Step number one, put a destination in the car. Car figures it out. Great. What's next?
So then after it does that, it tells you how long you're going to be charging for. And it actually tells you the time that you're going to arrive to your destination based off of all of the charging, all of the network, all of the, and it tells you what network you're going to be using on the way as well. So for the Mach-E, 95% of what showed, what populated on my screen was Electrify America. And then there was one EVgo that had popped up. I ended up
Okay.
not using the EVgo network. I used Electrify America the entire road. But another cool thing about the Mach-E that I like is that it has a bubble. So it's a range estimator bubble that if you zoom out on your map, it puts a bubble to show you what your car can reach at its current state of charge.
That's
If you could
nice.
envision that, which is pretty cool. So
Yeah.
where I'm sitting right now, if I opened up that map, it would show you where I can go. And so to me, it helped me plan my trip better because I was looking at PlugShare and I was looking at where the chargers were and I was trying to figure out like, okay, can this car really make it? And being that, I drove it for a couple of days before I decided to do the road trip, I got a feel for it that it was able to overachieve than what was advertised as far as its range. And so I hit the road and I mean, I didn't have any issues with any of the chargers. As far as not being able to charge, there was one or two chargers where they just wouldn't activate, and I had to switch to another charger. So, other than that, I mean, which I've had that happen with me and my Tesla as well. So it was just there was none that got me stuck to the point where I needed to call a tow truck or, hyper mill it somewhere. So it worked out perfect.
All right. And again, Electrify America being, unproven at that point, you hadn't really used it. Did you run into any issues with it told you to go here, you went there, the stalls were down or not working or whatever? Any problems with any of that?
So the only one that it did for me, which was kind of funny, and I bragged about, was when I left California. It told me to stop in El Centro, California. It's it's a Electrify America charger in El Centro. And so when I left California, it said stop there and then continue on to Yuma. Well, watching how the charging was going when I was leaving through California, I looked at my range and assessed that I didn't even have to stop in El Centro, that I could have continued on into Yuma and got there with enough charge. So I skipped chargers instead of having to use more chargers than what the program was suggesting. So the Mach-E is very conservative when it's telling you to charge and where to go because it wants to make sure that you're safe and that you're going to get there. Opposed to myself that has owned EVs and know how to stretch every mile if you need to, so I was able to skip some chargers opposed to using every charger that was there. I didn't run into any issues with any chargers being down. I didn't run into any issues where they were overcrowded. And even now, Electrify America has gotten it to your Apple CarPlay to display the chargers that are available, which ones are down. And so on my car, it also has wireless Apple CarPlay. So it's seamlessly telling me as far as the chargers coming up, which ones are available, what the wattage is, what the power supply is for those charging stations, and which ones are available. So that's a pretty cool feature that they recently updated. I want to say about 3 months ago. So it's getting better. And I mean, but for my first trip, I didn't run into any of those issues as well. I could tell you on my second trip with the orange one, I did run into that issue, and I was not happy.
And so you ran into the issue of it. Um,
Going to a station that was not working. Yeah, so it was right out of Louisiana. I think it was I can't remember the name of that station, but all but one charger was functioning, and that one charger that was functioning was like functioning at a fraction of its speed. So it was only pumping out 33 kilowatt hours or 33 kilowatts. So not fast at all. And
All
so
right. So, and what was your on these trips? Like, what was your longest charge? Like, how long did you sit at a single charge, or the longest one?
with the blue one, when I did the cross country road trip, the longest I ever stopped was 35 minutes. And that was, I can't remember where in Texas, but 35 minutes was my longest stop charge time. And that
Okay.
35 minutes gives me about, on the blue one, it gives me a little over 200 miles worth of range of 35 minutes worth of charging.
And
With
on the
the
other one,
with the orange one, because it's the performance, I think the longest I charged was about 45 minutes or so. But
yeah.
I was also doing more of a cannonball run, so I was really aggressive with that car, really aggressive with it, because you figure I went from California all the way out here to Florida in 40 hours in that orange one. So I mean, I literally was stopping, charging, stopping, charging, stopping, charging, and that was it. There was no detours, there was nothing else. And had it not been for that charger that was slow, I would have been, maybe even ahead of time and in the 30 something. So
Yeah. So Electrify America covered you both trips, coast to coast. No real issues except for that one charge at that one time, which that could happen in any network. Um, Cost and negotiating payment and all that, like that's I assume that's with their app. And I remember when you did the first road trip, it was something like $100 and something for the whole trip, which is nothing when you think about what that would have cost you in gas.
right.
So, what any issues with payment or anything like that? Like costs seem reasonable, or tell us more about that.
So the cost, it's pretty comparable to Tesla's network and to the other network that's out there. With both cars, you get, when you buy them, you get 250 kilowatt hours of free charging. Like Ford gives that to you as a gift for buying the electric vehicle. So um, with the orange one, they gave me 500 because it was delayed. So all the folks that got their cars delayed, they got an extra 250. So I got 500 kilowatt hours. So that's what I was using for the road trip to come back out this way when I got the orange one. So I didn't pay anything. I essentially just used I didn't even use all of it anyway, but I used that. And then Ford has a partnership that they've established with Electrify America. So I literally just pull up, grab the Electrify America plug it into the car, and it's a plug and pay. And so it talks to the car, they do their communication, and then it bills my Ford account. And on my Ford account, I have my credit card, and it charges me at the regular rate. The only thing that I'm trying to get Ford to fix is that you could become an Electrify America Plus subscriber, and you get a discount on your rate. So, like out in Florida, the rate is 43 cents a kilowatt hour. And if you are a Plus member, then it's 32 cents or 31 cents a kilowatt. So, what I did is I've been trying to get Ford to allow us to put that Plus subscription on our Ford profile. So then that way we can get the discounted rates, because if you just go directly with plug and play, you're paying at the higher rate. So they're trying to figure that out, but it's taking them a while since this is a new game for them. So if I'm not using the free points that they gave me, I'll normally open up the app and use the Plus subscription, because it costs me $4 more a month, and depends on how much driving I'm doing, it balances out, and it's a greater savings for me to get that discounted rate.
All right. And for those of us who can't figure out the math in our head, you said you got 500 free kilowatt
Kilowatt
hours.
hours.
How far is that? Like how many miles is that basically? How much charging is that?
Well, you figure if you do the math, like use your vehicle for instance, like how many kilowatt hours is your car? How big is your battery? As far as
75.
75, and how many miles can you go with that?
Let's say 315.
Okay. So you figure 75 and then 315. So let's say you multiplied that by let's say 4, and then you come up with what the mileage is, and you
Okay.
figure it out that way.
Got
So
it. So basically just take the capacity of the battery and divide it by the 500 and
yeah,
in
because
the, in the
it's giving
range.
you,
Right.
yeah, it's giving you literally kilowatt hours. It's not going to give you, it's not giving you, it's not deducting per minute. they actually do kilowatt hours. So, which is pretty cool because you know that that's what you're getting instead of
Okay.
if the charger is slow or if you're throttled back or whatever the case may be, you're still going to get that deduction based on what you receive.
Right. And I know some of the other manufacturers, I think it was Porsche or one of the other ones, they're doing like a free year or two, or Lucid's doing like, they're giving away like a length of time of
Yeah.
free charging.
Yeah,
Okay.
Volkswagen does 3 years of Electrify America. The new Hyundai, the Ioniq 5, is also going to come with, I think, 2 years of free Electrify America charging. Their Porsche gives Electrify America free charging as well. And so they are doing a lot of those free incentives. The cool thing with the Mach-E is even though they did not give you, a free year of it, they gave you that bundle, which, like I said, the 200, 250 or the 500. But they also
And
give you,
that's use it till it expire, or till you use it, it doesn't expire.
it doesn't expire. So it
All
just
right.
sits in my
That
account.
works. Yep.
So it's pretty cool. I mean, it worked out for me. And like you mentioned before, it's like not everybody is stuck to having to use, the free charge or the superchargers or the chargers out in town. Like if you're at home, that's mainly like for myself, when I lived in California, majority of my charging was at the house. I
Hmm.
used public chargers when I needed to, but it wasn't something that I had to do. So
Right.
I didn't use them.
That's a lot. It's like me. I use superchargers once or twice a year, tops.
Oh, okay.
So that's why when I gave up my free unlimited supercharging, it really didn't hurt me that bad because I wasn't using it that much to begin with.
Right. And see that
So,
I used mine for the Model X because it was free and I had it on there, and I was just like, well, I'll save pennies on my electric bill, even though I had solar and I was overproducing. But it was just like it's free, so why not just stop and hog a charger and get my free charging? So I understand why they took it away, but I was it's like it's really not that much of a huge savings. Like
no,
and I
it's
was
not
going out of
unless
my
you're that
way to
person
go
that
charge.
charges. Unless you're that person that charges regularly, it's not worth it. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's not worth it. It's just not that big of a savings, like you said. All right. Now let's move over. Let's move to the inside of the car. We cover the outside, cover performance, cover why, the reasons why, so forth and so on. You know where I'm going next because I'm a tech person. So, like you mentioned already, CarPlay, which that's one of the things we always drool about from the Tesla side. Wishing Elon would bring CarPlay in, which is probably never going to happen. What else? Tell me about the tech features. Any autopilot kind of features, CarPlay, apps, entertainment. What are your options?
So with both cars, they're both what they have is called Blue Cruise enabled. So Blue Cruise is hands-free driving. The blue one has not received its update yet to do so. The orange one does have it activated right now. So that's one of the cool techs of that one. It's similar to like AP1 on the Tesla. So you activate it and it's just it's truly hands-free. You turn it on, you're in your lane, it'll stabilize you in your lane, maintain the lane, and carry on down the highway. So if there's any curves or anything that comes up, it will, continue to go down the road with your hands not touching the wheel, no prompts to touch the wheel. If you look away for the predetermined time, it will remind you to pay attention to the road. And as long as your eyes get tracked back on the road, then it will go ahead and turn off the little warning indicator, and then you can continue on with the Blue Cruise system. And then if you violate the warnings too many times without paying attention, it will turn off until you pull over and then restart the car, kind of like Tesla. You get put in autopilot
We've all
jail.
been in autopilot jail.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, we've been
It's a
there.
pain in the butt, but we've all
Yes.
been there.
But you learn
So
your lesson, and you're just like, okay, I won't test
true.
you anymore because I could tell you're serious about this. So, um, so that's a pretty cool feature that I really like because you literally are just sitting there like I'll sit back, my arms are crossed, and I'm just watching the roadway and looking around and taking in the scenery while the car is doing its thing. And as long as my screen is completely blue and hands free, it says hands free on it, then I know that I'm good and I'm safe and then that it's doing its thing. I do like it. It doesn't freak out when I'm driving next to trucks. It doesn't get weird when you're driving next to, if you're in the right lane and the on ramp or off ramp pulls up, it'll actually maintain its lane. It'll, instead of being focused on both lines, it'll just focus on the left line and then maintain the
Okay.
lanes. And that way you're not doing that weird swerve where the car's trying to like reposition itself.
Stay
So
in the center of a super wide lane. Yeah.
yes. So there was that. So it also has, and because it has their Apple CarPlay where you could have it plugged in, or it does wireless. And I mean, the wireless is crazy. As soon as you open that door, it's like your Apple wireless CarPlay pops up. It's almost instantly when you open the door, that pops up, and then so you have. It also allows you to download apps, so you can get Waze. So I have Waze on there.
Okay.
I have Spotify. I have a couple
So
music.
those are the apps in CarPlay, because I know about CarPlay apps.
Yeah,
So
well,
like
the
the ones
car.
like Waze, Pandora, so forth and so on. That's when you say download, that's coming into CarPlay that way.
No, well, no, the car actually downloads it into
Oh, the
the car
car. Okay,
itself as
that's what I
well.
was
Yeah.
asking. All right.
So
Yep.
you can actually tell the interface for the car to download those apps as well to put on your car, and so then that way you can just pick the icon and you'll have the Waze or Pandora or any of those features on your car as well, because it has the LTE, or I don't know what service it is, but it has its internet connectivity services as well, kind of like Tesla. So you're able to download whatever you need to download. I do connect it
Is
Wi-Fi
there
to the house as well.
is there a monthly charge for the connectivity beyond, outside the house? Obviously, you have Wi-Fi, but outside the house when you're on the road, is there a monthly
No,
charge for the LTE?
not yet. So it says free until 2025, and so I'm
Okay.
not sure what it will be at that point. And knowing myself, I probably won't have this car in 2025 anyhow. So I mean, let's be honest,
Shocker.
right? I mean, it probably won't. I mean, it has the interface isn't as super advanced as how the Teslas was, as far as being able to watch Netflix and play video games and do different things. They recently did an update, an over-the-air update that gave us a sketch pad that you're able to do some drawings on the screen, kind of like with like how Tesla did it, where you could draw in color and submit it to them if you want to. So you could do the same thing with the Mach-E. Now it has that got downloaded recently, and then you could play tic-tac-toe and some other stuff that they recently. Yeah.
Never play the games. Never. Like I
Yeah.
play
Well,
them once when they first come out, just
same.
to see what they're like, and never
Same.
touch them again.
I was the same way with the Tesla. I played the one that was kind of like Mario Kart. I played it for, I want to say, a couple weeks after I got it, and then after that, I never played it. And then all those other
I played.
games, Greek to me, so I didn't play them.
Yeah, I played one game of chess and won, and I was like, I'm not breaking that record. I won. I'm good. That was it. I don't need to play again to lose. I'm
Right.
good.
So yeah, I didn't. I went through and opened them just to see what they were, but I mean, I didn't play them much. So with this one, yeah, I just use it for what it is. It's a vehicle, so I just drive. I mean, the whole entertainment piece of it, like even with the Tesla, I think I watched Netflix maybe once on my Tesla, and that was it. Like I never used the Hulu, I never used all that other stuff. Like normally I'm on my phone. My phone is like my key to everything that I do anyhow. So, and then speaking of phones, so as I mentioned earlier, so both cars have the phone as a key as an option. Initially, when they came out, when they launched the blue one, you got one key, and then your phone is a key. You can have multiple phones as keys, but they had some issues with the phone as a key and a lot of people had some issues. I had one hiccup with mine when they did an update. It lost the connection or its signal or whatever it was, so I had to reinstall it. But a lot of people had issues with it. So now all of the newer Mach-E's, like the orange one, comes with two keys, and then you can still use the phone as a key because they didn't
All
want to
right,
have to
so
deal with that
it's still
complaint.
right. They still come with physical key fobs, and then
Yes.
set up as many phone keys as you want.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
So that's a cool thing about it too. I mean, I like having a key fob. So even though I don't use
Yeah,
mine, I just like the idea of having one.
came from the Model S, which of course had one, and then when I got the 3, I went ahead and bought both models. I bought the first one that wasn't really passive. Then they came out with the updated one that was the real one. I bought that one, and now they both kind of just sit in a drawer. I kind of just got used to using the phone key, and I don't ever carry them anymore. But they're great for valet and things like that. So
Right.
I've gotten so used to the phone key, I don't carry the fobs anymore.
Same. And I don't carry my fob, but I like having it for like when you mentioned for like valet and stuff like that, because it's like I mean, I've learned my lesson where I've gone out with the car and I'm just like, oh, I can't give you my car because my dumb self forgot to
Right,
bring
because
the key. And so what am I going to do for
I'm
you?
not giving you my phone.
Right. I'm not giving you my phone and I'm not like going to sign into the car and have you drive it either. So, because that's another cool thing. So with the Mach-E, so when I told you about my hiccup with the phone where it disconnected when it updated, if you get up, if I were like, let's say you were coming to visit and my cars were outside, I'm at work, and you were like, hey, Sergio, I just got dropped off. I'm here to borrow your car. I can give you a door code. I could create a door code, have you punch in the door code on the side of the door. You can open the door, and then there's a password that you could punch in on the screen, and then that would pretty much start up the car for you. So it'd be your way to enter the car without having my phone, without having a key fob, without having anything. You can actually still get access to the car.
All right.
It's a backup setup.
So the tech sounds pretty comparable to what we're used to. Tell us, I kind of probably skipped this from the very beginning. Tell us about the ordering delivery process, because I know you got yours delivered in California because that's where you first ordered it from. But like dealership pickup, house service, have you had to have it serviced? What's that all like now?
So the reason why I had both of them delivered in California was, one, because I'm a California resident, and then two, because California loves to give people money. So in
Right, yeah.
California,
Rebates.
you, hey, if you go green in California, they throw money at you. So, buying both cars
Smart.
buying both cars in California, Edison gave me rebates on both of them. On the orange one, they gave me $1,000 or $1,500 off the price at this time of signing. The dealer just sends in their paperwork and they get reimbursed. So it's like I don't even have to do any paperwork. And then the state of California, you apply for their rebate, and then they send you the rebate for that as well. So for both cars, I got online, I ordered them. When I reserved them, once ordering was available to configure, I configured them, got them set up. The dealership then messaged me letting me know that they got my request for the order and that they submitted it. Then after that, I got a tracker to tell me about how the whole progress was going. Once the car got shipped, the dealership was in contact with me. And then for the blue one, when it got to the dealership, I just went down to the dealership, signed all the paperwork, and then was out of there. For the orange one, this is now new. What Ford has done is you do everything on the website. So similar to Tesla, you do your applications as far as like what you're doing, if you're financing, if you have any special rate codes or anything. So like for the orange one, I got a discount on it, so I got it under MSRP. Because I used what's called an X plan that's available to vets for Ford. So if you are a vet, there's an organization that allows you to use the X plan under them, and you get, I think it was almost $2,000 that I got off of the orange one. So, while people are saying, oh, they're marking them up, I got that orange one for under MSRP.
Okay.
And I submitted everything online, got everything done. All I did was walk into the dealership and I gave them 3 signatures and I was done. So it
All right.
was
And what
literally like
was,
how my Tesla experience was.
yeah. Okay. So Dan's just confirming. How do the rebates work? Didn't you have to be a resident of California with an ID, and you are a resident, so you had all that, no problem.
Yes.
And
You have to register
how,
it in California. You have to be registered in California. That's the key. As long as the car gets registered in California when you buy it. So both my cars are
okay.
registered in California.
Oh, okay. And how was the dealership's reaction? Because we've heard the horror stories of dealers. They don't really want to sell EVs because they're losing all the money they would make on service from traditional ICE cars. They will talk you out of it if you walk in talking about you want to buy one, which you didn't have to deal with because you already ordered it. But like, what was their attitude when you came and said, sign, 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 give me my car?
They're super cool. My dealership, the Gosh Ford in Hemet, they when I got the blue one, I started seeing messages about markups and all of that, and so I immediately reached out to them. I was like, hey, if you guys are going to mark up my car, I'm going to a different dealership. There's no way in hell I'm paying a markup. And so they're like, absolutely not. If you order it directly from Ford and we're just facilitating the sale, they're like, we're going to give it to you for what you agree with on the Ford website. And I was like, okay, well, cool. If you try to mark anything up on me, we're not going to have, it's going to be a misunderstanding in that dealership.
Sure.
So they were super cool about it. Like, I mean,
Code word
yeah,
misunderstanding.
I'm just saying, like, I mean, we all know I can get out of hand. So they did right. You know, I walked in, I did everything. They for the blue one, I did have the finance guy try to suggest, you know, the extended warranty and some maintenance
Mm-hmm.
plan and some other thing. And I was just like, dude, I don't
I'm
want
surprised they didn't try and sell you oil changes.
yeah, but no, he didn't. He wasn't that dumb. He knew better. But he tried to sell me a couple things. I was like, I want absolutely nothing. Like, don't give me no etching on nothing. Don't give me no paint protection. Don't give me nothing. Just give me my contract, give me my car, and let me go. And he's like, all right, fine, done. And so
Mm.
with the orange one, I had emailed them. I was like, hey, like, let's not have that conversation again. They were like, we won't. And that was it. So that's why I walked in 3 signatures later, walked out.
All right.
So it
Good to know. So that's a message for anybody out there ordering, a car where you're going to have to pick it up from a dealership. Just stand strong with, hey, this is what I agreed to online. I'm here to pick up that car. I'm not here to buy anything extra. No, I don't want to hear about the specials. No, I don't want to hear about any markups or any things. I'm just here to pay for what I paid or to pick up what I paid for online.
Yep, it's crazy because any other vehicle that I've purchased, any other ICE vehicles that I've purchased, it's always the finance manager that I get into an argument with. Always.
Mm-hmm.
That's always where I walk out the dealership when I'm in financing, about to start signing documents, and he starts with that sales stuff. That's when I walk out, and I'm just like,
The
I'm done.
rust protection, that was a famous one. The you don't want to not get the tire warranty.
Right.
Those are all the little markups that they try and
Or
do
the
when
gap,
you're.
or the
Yep,
this or that. And it's just like,
yep,
and then when you start saying no, then the prices start coming down. It's just like, then why did you start off so high if that's what you could do anyway?
right.
So it's just annoying. So I don't have tolerance for it, but then again, I'm a different breed. I mean, I like to haggle when it comes to pre-owned cars. Like, I will go into a dealership and I want to sit down and I want you to write out the whole four square, and I want to go back and forth and be like, no, I don't want this, and I want this, and can you do this, and can you do that? Like, I enjoy that part, but the financing guys, I can't deal with them. I can't deal with them.
Well, luckily they're going to be a thing of the past, so
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to have to be dealing with them too much more in the future. All right, we're coming up on the top of the hour. Are there any questions from the audience? We kind of tossed a few out there already. Tariq says he appreciates the transparency. Dan wanted you to explain the kilowatt hours, which you did. He also asked about California resident, which you did. Um,
One thing you mentioned about, how has man, that PTSD is a beast.
I
Anyways,
know, I know. I thought I'd throw that one up there for you.
yeah. But so with servicing, so it was kind of funny because the first time I took the blue one in for service, it was out here in Georgia because it needed the 10,000-mile service. So Ford has their intervals on the app. It tells you, the car reminds you to do their service, which at 10,000 miles, it's literally just rotate tires and just inspect everything to make sure everything's in order. And so I took it in, and they're just like, we don't know what to do with this car. I was like, just rotate the tires. They're just like, that's it. I was like, yeah, that's it. That's all the book calls. So Blue Cruise is not a free feature. So you do pay for it. So on the orange one, I paid for it when I ordered the car. And so it's already paid for. I think it was like an additional $1,500 or something like that for the orange one. For the blue one, it has the equipment. It's Blue Cruise equipped. But once Blue Cruise launched, I think it's like $300 or $400 for like a 3 or 4 year subscription or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but I can, look that up and get back to you on it. I'm not, but
Okay.
You put 10. Man, the blue one has 23,000 miles on it already.
There you
So, and
go.
in 20 in the since February of having it, I put 23,000 miles on the blue one, and it it needed to get the brake rotors machined, just because I think partially because of the way I drive, and then two because they're just something weird with the brakes on that blue one. And so I had to get the rotors machined, and then Ford decided, they were like, well, we're gonna do that. Let's go ahead and change the rotors and change the pads. They did all that for free, and then that was that. With the orange one, I haven't had to get anything done on that one. That one has like 6,000 something miles on it right now. So yeah, I drive my cars. I mean, even with my Tesla, my 2020, I had 34,000 miles on it in about a year. So I drive my cars. And if
That's a
I
lot
can
of
get out
driving.
on the road, I
Yeah, you
just
do.
drive. Like I don't hesitate to drive. Like I feel like if you buy a car, they're not meant to sit in your garage. They're not meant to, you know, be low mileage and look cute. Like drive them. They're cars. I don't do the whole
Preach.
extra. Huh?
I said preach.
That seriously, like, I mean, you already know, like, you want something, okay, here, I'm gonna drive it out there, or you want to link up and go grab,
Right.
let's link up. Like, I mean, that's just if I got time and I can make it happen, I'm gonna do it.
That's awesome. All
So,
right. Any other question? Oh, wait, hang on. What vehicle? There we go. That's from Tariq again.
um, so I'm really conflicted on that. So I know that I was a day one, actually first hour Hummer reservation. I had reserved one of those. I'm really excited about that one. I saw it in person here in Florida at the Amelia Concourse, the Elegance. I got up and close with it, opened it up, looked at it. I'm really impressed with that Hummer. I just like it because it's just big and bad, and it's obnoxious, and it just seems like something I would enjoy driving because it's just something like that. So I would like to get my hands on that Hummer. I'm also in the first. I should be in the first swing of productions for the F-150 Lightning because I was one of the first reservist on that one too. So I'm looking forward to the Hummer. I'm looking forward to the F-150 Lightning. I'm thinking about a Lucid, but I've gotten accustomed to having a crossover vehicle type of feeling now. Like the Model S, like even though I enjoyed it when I got the Model X, I enjoyed the height, I enjoyed the ride, I enjoyed just not having to get so low. Even with raising up the suspension on the Model S, it wasn't the same like with the Model X, and so I want SUV type of vehicles if I can get a more crossover type. So I'm conflicted. And then that Porsche is a beast, but I don't think I can swing that on a regular basis because I like yeah I'd rather be comfortable. And even though it looks comfortable, it just looks like it'd be more of a pain in the butt to get in and out of on a regular.
Yeah, because if you said you don't like getting down low, that car is
Yeah, I
definitely
don't.
going to be
I
down low.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to slide in and go.
Yep.
I'm lazy. Hey
and you're
Debbie.
welcome, Debbie. Yep. Be sure to catch the replay if you haven't already, or you said you're going to do that. And Dan's asking, what EV don't you have or want, and why? Like, what do you not want anymore? I think I already know the answer, but let's see.
Maybe don't you have the one that I don't have that I want? I like that the Audi e-tron GT as well. Like I would get that car, but once again, the only reason I'm not is because it's a car, and I just don't feel like I want to get low. And I just, even though I know I can, it's just I've grown a comfort to driving something that is truly comfortable. And if it's not going to be comfortable for me, I'm not going to buy it just because of what it is. So um, there's really not an EV that I don't have that besides the, like I mentioned, the Hummer. I want that Hummer. And the only reason I don't have it is because it's not available yet. But I also like the Lucid, the Rivian SUV, like, but it's all a matter of seeing these things in person and then going from there as well. So Like I'm just, you just watch. You know, I'm gonna grab and snatch up a few more EVs as they come along. These two right here, this one and that one, they'll be here for a little bit, but don't think they're gonna be around forever. Like I'm not a loyalist to any of these manufacturers. Like every one of those, each one of those could be gone in a minute. Like it's not even, I won't even bat an eye at it. Like if something else comes up that I really like and I don't feel like, grabbing money from here or there and I just want to get rid of one of those and do it, then that's what I'm gonna do.
All right, so that does bring up. I'll add on to that question. What do you think the next one is going to be? Like, if based on timelines, based on what's going to ship next, what do you think the next one will be in your driveway will be?
I think the next one in the driveway, based off of what they're stating, is going to be
Based
the
off what they're
Lightning.
stating. Okay, based on
So,
like.
yeah, I think the
And how
lighting,
far
the
out is
lighting.
that?
They're talking about mid 2022 to have that out. So I'm thinking somewhere like May or June of 2022, from my understanding.
But I thought they bumped it because they're going to increase production on the Mach-E.
No, so there was a rumor of being it bumped, but there was a rumor of it being bumped, but then they tweeted about it saying that it wasn't being bumped.
Okay.
So they want to bump up production and they're trying to do this and they're trying to do that, but they're stating that they still are on target for mid 2022. So if that happens, then the Lightning will be the first one in my driveway because I don't think the Hummer's going to be out by then. And then um,
And does that mean the blue one or will go away, or there will be three Fords?
um, it'll probably be three Fords because I'll probably get
Okay.
rid of one of my other cars because I have a couple other cars still. And so I'd probably get rid of one of the other cars. I'll probably get rid of like my Audi or because I have another Ford as well back in California. I'll probably get rid of that. I don't know. It depends. I gotta
As I as I
gotta
always
shake
tell
things
people in the
up.
group, he's rich, rich. Like I said, he's
Nah,
proving it
just
right now. No,
no bother on the budget, man. I'm just trying to make it.
no. Sure. Let's see. All right. A couple people saying they catch the replay. Any last words? Anything you want to say? Anything you want people to know about you or your cars or Mach-E before we go?
Nah, besides getting in them and driving them and experiencing them for yourself, I mean, the cars are really good. Ford did a lot of research and engineering in these things. They did a lot of effort, and it shows. I mean, driving these cars, I'm impressed. I mean, I rented the Chevy Bolt for a month when my Hyundai was in the shop, and you know, even though that was a good car and it works for most people for what they need, like it didn't give me impressive. I didn't like the look of it. I didn't like the comfort of it. There's a lot of cars out there, and it's all about finding what works for you and what you need. I mean, some people are okay with car sizes and smaller cars and getting low and getting in and out. Like get what works for you. What's going to get you from point A to point B and back? Or if you're a road tripper, will those miles, suffice for what you need? And will the charging speeds work for you? Because I can tell you right now that Nero ain't gonna last because the charging speed only goes up to like 74 kilowatts, and that's slow to me. Because if I gotta sit at a supercharger for 2 hours while you figure out what you're doing, I don't have that type of energy or time. Like I got things to do. So it's all about making it work for you. Just do your research. Go out there, drive them. Plug them in, see how they start to charge, and then make your decision from there.
All right, sounds good. I like the advice. And you brought up another valid point that's near and dear to my heart as far as not only get what works for you, like getting down low. That doesn't bother me getting in and out of cars. I know a lot of people like were pushing me to try and get like something taller or whatever. They were concerned that I would have an issue getting in and out of a low car. I started with the S and it was low, and the three is just as low, and I don't have a problem with either one of them. But the thing that will like the thing I start with when I'm looking at a car is how do I like the way it looks? If I don't
Right.
like the way it looks, it's already a deal breaker. I don't care what features it has. I don't care how much range it has. I don't care how much luxury it has on the inside or any of that stuff. If I don't like the way it looks,
Right.
so if it starts with that, and then I go to the okay, what's the tech, what's the range, what's all that other stuff. Then I go to those other things. But yeah, it's the way a car looks is very important to me.
I agree.
All right. Any other last questions before we head out? Good stuff. All right. And you're welcome. Yeah, this is I jumped at the chance to do it when Sergio recommended it. So I said, "You're going to be the first one." He fought me on it, and then I said, "No, no, you're going to be the first one."
Well,
And then he agreed.
I appreciate it, man, and absolutely, I can't wait to see what comes up next, and what other vehicle gets featured, and just to hear about it, owner experiences, and just have folks start talking about their cars, appreciating their EVs, and understanding that there's a slew of EVs, or like Dan would say, a gaggle of EVs out there, and we got to embrace them all. And it's like we're all doing our part. We all have our cars, and just because we drive one or other don't mean we can't get the other one. It's just we want what we
Right.
want.
Yeah, we want what we want. Exactly.
Just because so and so has this don't mean I gotta have this, or I gotta have that, or hell, I already had it. So
Right.
just understand that we're all the same. We're all here for the same reason.
Sounds great. Okay. I think we're going to end it here. That was a great note to end on. Thank you, Sergio, once again for agreeing to do this and letting me twist your arm and making you the first one. He talks a lot of shit on the forums, but he's kind of shy at times, so I had to pull him out of that.
Sometimes.
So sometimes. So thanks for doing this. This was great. I love the information. And if you guys got any questions about Mach-E, this is your go-to guy. You can answer whatever you can't answer. You can find out. All right. And as I always say on my streams, cheers. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye, everybody. Have a good day.